Hello everyone, welcome back to a new episode of Road to Rank 1. Today we will start our journey playing against VMG Narra, which is a relatively low Grandmaster, Terran player, and we are a relatively high Grandmaster Protoss player. A lot of Terrans already struggle in this matchup. Add in the little bit of skill difference that's here, he might be struggling an awful lot, but we'll try to make it informative nonetheless, because Blizz thinks my 20% TVP win rate is too high. Very nice. It does look like they do believe that. So, let's just get pretty in-depth then, because we should have a little bit of mental wiggle room here against this fella. We will be playing a 3-gas, 2-gate blink opener. It's an opener that I've really been fond of lately, because it gives a lot of the advantage that a 4-gas does, and a lot of the advantages that a 2-gas does. So we scouted, we see the fact that currently there is no proxy on the left side, which is nice, because we just wanted to confirm that here real fast. We also see that there's no eBay over here. I might be slightly too late right now with my Cybercore. No, it's still going to be approximately in time, and we go back down. 1:38 is the timing that they throw down their command center, so if we can hit before that, that would be fantastic. We can get a little bit of a block in, although my goal here is not to delay that forever. It might still be nice to try and get a little bit of a delay. I kind of ruined my wall there. Gonna just pop up. Okay, it's a Marine. That's a fast Marine, by the way. He built that quick. This guy is very, very quick. Okay, cool. And our follow-up move here is to patrol this area. Now, the reason why I want to patrol this area is because I want to be made aware whether my opponent gets a Reaper or not. Because if he gets a Reaper as a second unit, which is uncommon, but not super uncommon. It's like, let's say a 5 to 10% type of build order, okay? If this is how he opens, I'll need to keep my first unit at home. However, if that's not how he opens, I don't need to keep my first unit at home. Well, it's not here. We can send this probe back home, and we can throw one chrono boost on our Nexus. Like, we want our Twilight Council before our second unit, so that our blink finishes when his first medevac flies in. There's a couple of other tells that we're going to be looking for right now. That's mainly the Marine count. That's our basically the next big thing here. Well, it's the only big things that we're still going to get scouting-wise. Gonna make sure that we're not going to get caught here in a bad spot. Okay, so we didn't quite see how many there was in there. I want to check. 3. So we should see one Marine at least be outside here, I believe. We might be playing like a Marine Reaper type of opener. In that case, I do believe we might be fighting against a triple CC opener, but now there's Marines out again. He could have just hidden Marine 4 and 5. That is, of course, also a viable option here. No, okay, it's at least one Reaper. Yeah, I was thinking I'm missing some Marines here. Okay, so I was correct in the call. This feels very much like a triple CC. This is the type of opener people really like doing with triple CC. Gonna get a pylon over here and then take this as our third base. Anyway, we'll take a 3rd gas. A lot of Marines. It's still possible that he opens up with a what you call these? With a factory, but it's just somewhat unlikely. However, we can't really, just because something is unlikely, completely discount the possibility. And as a result, I'm just going to put this in the middle. I needed one more chrono boost on that a bit faster. We also are just simply too slow with getting our probes in the gas. But I don't think it's going to be the end of the world. I should have maybe even built a pylon over here. So we have a lot of vision in the middle right now. Okay, I saw him come here. He's going to most likely just boost in. Yeah, I wish that didn't happen. So we end up losing one of these. Does give us a lot of freedom though. So I spotted him with the pylon down there. We'll get an extra gas and we'll delay because we're This is one of the many theories that I recently kind of internalized, is that when we're getting these quick type of tertiary tech, I guess you could call them, so whether that's the Colossi or the Fast Storm, in this case Storm would have actually been better, because we are fighting someone who opened with a Raven, but it's, well, I mean, we made a blind decision and it was the wrong one. That's live as well. It is just really nice to delay that forge for as long as possible so we can get a lot of units out initially. Our AoE is going to be so fast that it won't really matter. So we want to just figure out... Ah, that was nice. Well done by him. Gets that observer. No use in fighting this, by the way. It looks a bit... it looks like you do want to kill it, you know? But it's going to run out anyway. Yeah. We'll just to make sure that he doesn't get to escape with the Raven. Actually, I wouldn't even mind if he escapes with a Raven, I think. Do I? Maybe it's not that bad if he escapes with the Raven. Because if he escapes with the Raven, that would mean that he can't use a Raven in the fight. So maybe I want him to escape with a Raven. Yeah. I don't think... I'm not sure. Just get a battery in the natural. We want a relatively high gateway count. I think 6 is a good number. And we probably should have already started our charge as well. And I'm just constantly paying attention to the minimap. It's the only thing I truly care about. Is that minimap. We can get a decent amount of these units out. And now, because we're playing against a Raven, I went for triple sentry. And with that triple sentry, what I can do is just delay him at key points on the map if he decides to move out. See, I also have pretty darn decent vision on the map here. I'm lacking a fair amount in this general area. So if he comes from there with like a double drop that somehow managed to escape, that would suck. It seems somewhat unlikely though. We can follow this up with a Templar Archives as well. Did I just miss something on the minimap? I thought I saw something fly here, but I might just be seeing them fly at this point. We already have 8 gates. That's good. Okay, and we spotted him moving out. Now the question is, did he spot me, spot him? That of course really is the main question here. And if so, what you gonna do about it, bruv? You can build a pylon here and move forward. I don't think he saw me spot him. Get 1 or 2 of these in here. Make sure we don't get 2 supply block. We can cancel that. I think he's in some major trouble right now. I shouldn't actually just move into that. That would be definitely a mistake. We still have our charge coming up. And let's not forget that we can also get a single Templar here to start just feedbacking that Raven. Where did he go with his army? I kind of want to take my 6th gas and just get another base going. I'm often not a fan of attacking with a lot of zealots into a Terran. I'm a relatively relaxed Protoss player. And what I mean with that is that if I can, I like to just sit back and do nothing. But I think here we might just have such a huge opportunity, such a big timing window, because our early game was honestly, well, quite good. That I almost believe it would be a waste to not move out. So we're actually gonna try. I don't think I can get my +2 going in time. I told them long ago, I would be surprised if he decides to go deeper into this. That would definitely be a mistake, right? If he actually commits here. Yeah, that was a mistake. So we get these, because we cleaned everything up in the main base. That was a mistake as well, no? He's getting a lot of... he's just getting a lot of, what you call it? I F2'd here, by the way. And it was a good F2. Those are rare, but it was a good F2. He has a lot of medevacs, is what I wanted to say about for the past 5 minutes. I think I should have already gotten a 2nd robo as well. Wouldn't surprise me if that single drop still ends up going here. Oh, that was the wrong one that I split back in. Don't think it's going to matter though. Send a couple of zealots into his natural. That's going to allow me to for sure gain a little bit of eco damage. And then we just hopefully kind of kite back, sell it in the natural, clean everything up. And now we force him basically to come into us, right? And that's exactly what we do here. Take out the Viking, GG. And we win this game. A very clean win. Where a couple of these... I kind of want to go over this early game because this early game is super beautiful. So there is one kind of a weak spot, I would say, and that's against the 3-Rex. If you're not aware that it's a 3-Rex. I honestly believed that this would be a 3-Rex, and the way that he pushed away my Adept was also really good. I did kind of enjoy how he did that. Perhaps if I'm not completely aware of what is happening, I should get some blind batteries. Or my first warp in. So we have a first warp in here, right? Perhaps if I'm not quite sure what's going on, like I don't see a Hellion here, which is super uncommon because, well, he hasn't even spotted my Twilight Council. So what does he know, right? Hellion is almost necessary for a scout. That often, the Hellion often, it tells the Terran something, but it also tells the Protoss something. It tells the Protoss that there's a factory. And in this case, where I don't get that tell, I think Sentry Stalker as the first warp in might just be helpful. That way I can get the confirmation on whether it's Starport Factory and even what the second Starport unit is going to be. I could then figure out, hey, he's going for a tech lab and we're expecting a Raven after Medevac. It's just a little bit of extra info. And in that case, I could make a more educated decision rather than blindly having to throw down my RoboBay. I can say, hey, maybe I want to go for the Templar Archives here and just have a bit of an easier time. Like Raven tank, great to have these storms against that. However, if your opponent is skipping that Raven, all right, go ahead and get those Colossi. You know, that's also great. Does leave you with a potential problem here in which, first of all, you're going to have 50 less gas, which sucks. You need to pull into gas correctly, which I didn't do here. And also, might just leave you with one less unit. Even though I think you can just warp in a Stalker if you truly want to, right? It's not really an issue. Yeah, and I had Blink ready. I had pretty decent map vision. I was lacking a bit on the far left. Also didn't have a pylon here, which could have cost me. If I look back at this. This was, not the greatest map vision, but it did the trick. We get our points, and we win the game. That means we can search the next one. So we're 6-4-40, and we're planning on going up today. Our second opponent is going to be BabyMarine. So I think we're going to play a similar opener here. I'm also never quite sure on this map what the superior third base is. I think a lot about these things, but my brain works in relatively slow ways. It often... nothing useful comes out, so I'm trying to say. Yeah, I have loads of thoughts, and none of them quite useful. I believe there's some use in taking this as a third, but it also creates this type of area where you need to think of two bases at the same time. I don't know. I'm just not quite sure. I really just am not quite sure. So it's it's a tricky thing to think about. I didn't opt to go for a Reaper wall for no real reason. Actually, it's not really that easy to do on this map. It's possible, but I just don't like the way it looks and the way it feels into the mid game. Making sure we're not getting proxied here on the left side. Oh, well, we are getting proxied here on the left side. This is dead, right? Like this is a. I'd be surprised if he continues with it. Yeah, he should cancel. He could also be sending another. Okay, there we go. He probably should keep it alive as long as possible. Okay, well. So the reason why I like the scout here, if I go for core first, we can actually go over that as well. So when you open core first, the biggest danger is a close by proxy reaper. So you scout this area and then this general area because it allows them to quickly jump into your main base. Any over here is just a lot further and this makes it easier to move your probes around. You won't be in time with your probe scout after scouting around to decide whether you want Nexus first or core first. So if you go Nexus first, you can't actually scout the close by location. Whenever someone decides to go for Nexus before core, you need to go immediately. And then if you scout no barracks there, you still need to go core first. And you need to accept that if they build their barracks here, that you're just going to be in a crap spot. So it's a tricky situation, definitely, but it's one that I think I navigated quite well here. This is why also often when you play Nexus before Core, I'd like to, rather than scouting my opponent's base, I just scout close by my base for either potential proxy 2-Rex or for a potential proxy Reaper. And that way, I've kind of eliminated all the options that they have, but I don't get any confirmation on the other side of the map of what actually is happening. So whether they're opening with Marine first, Reaper first, maybe they're still a proxy Rex and they're doing some double gas opener, which means it's just, you have a lot less information in general, but you're a bit more sure about there not being any close by barracks. And also, if you go Nexus before Core and you scout the close by a bit too late, or he's just outside of the close by range, you can also just straight up lose the game. So there's definitely some risk there. There's there's no real safe way to go about it against Terran, but you can cover the different proxies in such a way that it, over a lot of games, it is very unfavorable for Terran to actually ever proxy. And that's what you want. Like, if you can create an 80% scenario where you end up being ahead, or a 90% scenario where you are ahead, that is a good time for you, you know? And any Terran that proxies you is a fool that doesn't know statistics. All right, let's hop into game number 3. It's our boy Couguar here, who is a Russian Protoss player that back in the day was well known for building DTs, sniping observers, and hiding stargates in corners of the map. Yeah, an absolutely legendary playstyle that I still sometimes have nightmares about. These days, scouting around the map is a little easier, and I've gotten a little bit better at the game as well. And I often win against him, but I still sometimes wake up in a cold sweat, thinking about my observer getting sniped and my robo at the same time. He is the one person that taught me that having a robotics facility in a proper position is extremely important. Never get it too close to the ramp, because that increases the chance of it getting shot by someone like Couguar. And then followed up by sniping your last 2 observers, and then with DTs destroying you. And if that doesn't work, you'll have 3 Stargates proxied in the corner of the map. That was his playstyle in Heart of the Swarm. A lot of fun games. Well, fun games. A lot of games where I ended up crying myself to sleep that night. That's not the case no more. With my... Good lord, this is bad for him. So whenever you see something like this is why you can't create a wall like this. Because he needs to wall this area. And if he can't wall this area, guess what's going to happen? You're going to get very, very delayed, my friend. Yeah. Oh wait, that was not a good pylon. I don't understand how walls work. But it's still Cybercore delayed by almost 200 HP. Which on a 550 HP building, I guess would be close to 35% or so. I'm not sure. There's also a starting percentage. I think maybe a little bit 20. Stalker. I didn't really want to play Stalker, but if you get such a large delay, Stalker provides you with a level of map control that you usually wouldn't get. Getting Adept here would also be very good, honestly. 15 seconds. So it's been a 15-second delay on this thing for him. That is extremely large. Just extremely big. It's not going to finish it, which is a good call. It wouldn't have... I don't think it would have done very much. I still want to get... Okay, yeah, that's big. Stalker. Okay, cool. So the reason why I get this Oracle is because the best way to defend an Oracle is often with a warp into your main base. But because his Cybercore is so delayed... it's going to be difficult for him to get enough Stalkers out to defend my 4 Stalker kind of poke. My poking and prodding with these 4 Stalkers, and at the same time the Oracle in the main. Some of you at home might be thinking right now, hey Kevin, he obviously made a bad mistake, but this will never happen in a tournament game. Why are you, why are you not trying to make this into a more standard game and then practice your standard game rather than going off like a cheap gimmick? Well, because in order to be able to respond in tournaments with cheap gimmicks, you need to have practiced cheap gimmicks a fair amount, no? How can you capitalize on people's mistakes if you never practice on capitalizing on people's mistake. This is why I always say, whenever someone makes a mistake, always capitalize on it. Even if you're practicing with them. I remember back in the day, there used to be people that when they like left their zealot out of the wall or something like that, you know, and then a Zerg would like have a couple of links around, and then the Zerg would say, hey, your zealot is not in position. But instead what the Zerg should do is you just run in and see what he can get done with these links. Because sure, it's bad, but you still need to be capable of microing these links in the main result. This is what I was talking about as well, by the way. See that? It's just a really bad situation for him. It's a really bad situation. Oh, is that a Dark Shrine, by the way? I think it might just be. We're gonna go find his thing in that case, huh? Okay, we found it. I saw his first one as well. I saw his first one. I saw his first DT move around. I think this game is over. I really do believe this game is over. It's going to be extremely difficult for my opponent here to get anything done. I could decide to get a robo here. I think I might, but there's no hurry for me really. Okay. I don't feel particularly obliged to get that quickly. I do need to consistently be looking at this area though. Because otherwise there is a possibility he just runs in. So I got it after my forge, after my +1. This is one of the main advantages when you're playing this, is that your opponent invests into a Dark Shrine. It's like, ah, cool buddy, but it's gonna suck for you. We could have also not invested in this, gotten a cannon and gone up to 4 gates. And go for a bit of a push with +1. We could technically still do that, but we'd need to cut works a bit. You know what, let's just do that. This does 2 things for us. 1, it makes us safe against any potential pushes that he might be doing. And 2, it if he's being too greedy, like usually when people get behind, there's 2 normal responses. You know what I mean? There's the 2 most common responses would be either being greedy or all-inning. It's almost never, let me play standard and hope I can get back into the game by playing better. Like that might be Cyril's response, but if you're laddering, for whatever reason, that hardly ever seems to be the response. So they're either attacking. Okay, this is a actually kind of tricky situation here. Don't quite have blink yet. I'm really afraid of him just walking in here as well. With like another DT. GG. Okay. So he was actually semi-all-inning me here. This was off of 5 gates without any upgrades. Yeah, this was pretty dedicated. Delayed 3rd. Yeah, good start. I mean, we killed like six workers or so with my oracles. We killed 2 DTs for free. All of that's just going to delay any follow-up push by a lot. Get another +4, and we'll continue our terrorizing of the EU ladder for a bit. All right, we've got Aqueron as our opponent here on Berlingrad. I kind of feel like playing another game with Blink, and I kind of want to show you guys with that Sentry as well. You know, that Sentry Stalker Warp. And so we kind of stick with the theme that we've been playing all day long today. I do like kind of getting into these builds very deep every now and again, you know? You just play one of them and it just feels so natural. You really start dreaming about it. So if you just play one build, and I always tell people, just play one build until you have like a pretty decent grasp of it, and then switch to the next build. You don't want to stick with one build for too long if you're trying to improve on the build. Or oh crap, I misclicked. I thought I clicked on the low ground here, but I must have barely clicked like in the middle ground or something, or on the high ground. So I was messed up. Okay, well, we hope he isn't he isn't doing anything weird in that case. We'll have to move across the map. Ooh, we're a little low on gas as well here. We check that there's no eBay downstairs. Because there's often no use in sticking with the same build for too long. And the way that I like to explain it is that if you stick with one build for slightly too long, what often happens is you'll get pretty good at that build. Imagine we're using things on a scale of 1 to 10, you know? Which is a regular scale to use things on. And you're like an 8 out of 10 with a Blink build. But because you always play Blink, it becomes pretty easy to counter you for your opponents. Because they know you're always doing the same thing. And then you can't easily switch out. And also, it is way easier. For example, if you never play Oracles, and that build is a 3 out of 10 for you, it's way easier to go from a 3 out of 10 to a 7 out of 10 than it is to go from an 8 out of 10 to an 8.5 out of 10, you know? That first part of improvement is always the easiest, and you kind of want to get that to the max. You know, you want to just just get that improvement with every single build you can. So you at least have like a pretty basic understanding of most build orders, and then you can just kind of deepen your knowledge of all these build orders individually after. It makes it easier. It always feels like you improve quicker that way as well, rather than just getting really good at one thing, is to kind of move forward at everything at a similar pace. And I know this is kind of different from what most people tell you. Like, most people just say, I just focus completely on macro. But I often believe there's the very big gains come from being kind of good at everything. You know, just kind of being a jack of all trades tends to be better than being an ace, or well, being a queen at one. You know, like, because you're not going to become an ace of one build if you can't play other builds. And even if you do, it's kind of useless, because if you can't, like, people can just blind counter you or hard counter you or whatever you want to call it. It's useless. I haven't been scouting at all because I had told this extremely mediocre story. So now I need to get some pylon spread around the map, I think. That's what we need to do. I got 20 long years for some dust in a baggie. Ooh. That's kind of painful, huh? Another chrono on this. I really want to figure out what my man is up to. Another nice thing, by the way, with this opener is that if you get that sentry first, you have a little bit more cash on you, so you can actually maybe just fit this in a little bit faster. You know, that nexus here. So you get this. Oh, come on, Kevin. That's really mediocre. So now we get the scout on the other side of the map. Oh, we see him come in here. You see that? Beautiful, just beautiful stuff. Don't quite have my my thingy ready though. What do you call it? Don't quite know what I want to get yet tech-wise. Okay, we'll go for Templar Archives. So now we scouted this. This is an informed Templar Archives. Okay, this is not a blind Templar Archives. This is a proper one. You know what I'm saying? It wouldn't surprise me if he tries to go to the other side to deal a little bit of damage. We'll just keep patrolling over here. If you don't actually end up killing his... what do you call it? Good lord, I'm bad at speaking. If you don't actually end up killing his medevac, these games can get very, very tricky. Because you know he still has a medevac somewhere that's gonna come back in. Makes life so hard, you know? That's painful. I don't want to lose that. Use some of your energy, buddy. I know you want to. All these Terrans... This is the one thing that all Terrans share, is that they whoa. Should have probably gotten a couple more gateways before that first prism that I just built there. I know, I'm not really feeling this game because I didn't kill his... what you call it? I didn't end up killing what I wanted to kill. His medevac with the dudes. We get one of these as well. So there's two things we can do here. We can either defend. Okay, yeah, we found him. Nice. I think we're gonna end up defending, by the way. Look at this What do they call it again? The kids these days? Oh! Wrong hotkeys. That was not good. Good lord, this is a terrible defense. That's not good. That's really not good. You got the... what do you call it? This thing off. I think we lost the game, honestly. Yeah, kind of sloppy out of me. I'm not great at these games. I should have done a lot different here. Let's have a look at that, huh? Yeah, we first of all, we lost our stalkers like a complete idiot halfway across the map. I don't even think I should have gone across the map because it kind of opened me up to danger. I should have used my prism to delay this army because I had storm so fast. So I could have actually just maybe preemptively stormed him a bit or something like that. Then he can't really attack into this. Keep the stalkers at home for the prism. Everything else I think was kind of okay. Like we had a lot of money and we're just investing the 10 gate also was a mistake. I should have just stayed at 8 gates. Allowed me to build probably like maybe an immortal or something like that. Just slightly more crap. Maybe faster forge as well. I think this was just really bad. And he was going around as well. So he played it quite well. He had a lot of supply. Like this was annoying, but I should have kept this one alive for the prism. So I can just... if I can feed back the prism... because now what happened is he uses the interference matrix on my prism. And now I can't stop him from burrowing with the mines. And I can't really use my super battery well either. So I lose like my charge. I lose a lot of zealots already. I think I end up losing this Archon as well, which is super painful. I lose like 10 supply for nothing basically. He gets all of his mines properly burrowed. He has another couple of hits. And one of the main things that is good about Storm is that if you have a lot of zealots, you kind of force your opponent to kite backwards in a big ball. However, if you don't have enough zealots, he can just pre-split. Like this. He didn't even do it that properly, but he did it well enough that I think he ended up kind of winning anyway. He has a lot of money as well, by the way. Did not macro well behind this. But yeah, the first push remained big enough. Well, painful little loss there for me. Annoying. And yeah, I actually do think that's going to be it for today. It was an educational episode of Road to Rank 1. MMR-wise, I think we ended up going lower than where we started. So that wasn't great, but that's life as well. Thanks everyone so much for watching. I hope you did enjoy it. If you did, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and hopefully I'll see all of you next time for a new video. Thanks for watching, and bye-bye.